For watching Chili Boy Productions. I'm Larry Chili Boy Chilson, and this is my ranking for all of the comic book adaptations I saw in 2021. Before we get into this ranking, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. It's the end of the year. We are going back doing a retrospective on various genres and types of films, giving our top 10, giving our rankings. And of course, that would not be complete without discussing the comic book adaptation genre. So in total, I saw 8 films that I'm going to include here on this list. There are a couple questionable films that kind of are based on comic book, but not really. And then there's one of those that did solidly make it on my list. I think it counts. This is not superhero film, so we won't be seeing something like Thunder Force find its way on here. Don't worry. And it's just my list. It's just my ranking. You're probably not going to agree with what I have to say because, well, you'll see. But if you don't agree, rather than leave some hateful comment, just go ahead and drop your ranking below. I want to see everyone's list of comic book films. So without further ado, let's cut all this chit chat and get into the countdown. Kicking us off at number 8, aka dead last, I have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, I did not like Let There Be Carnage. I really didn't like Venom either, but in honesty, I liked the first film more than this sequel, which I know is already a bit of a hot take. Let There Be Carnage just doubled down on everything that was good or decent about that first film and made it damn near unbearable. Tom Hardy, thank you for being committed. Their little love romance thing could have been cute, but instead I just was tired and ready to leave the theater. Woody Harrelson and Naomi Harris were basically wasted. The character of Carnage is basically wasted. Yeah, no, it was just cringe all around, and I hated that post credit. Again, at number 7, I have Black Widow. It was fine. It was paint by the numbers, average, fine, across the board in every single way. And when you couple that with the fact that it came 5 years at the least too late on when it should have been released, we've been begging for Black Widow for ages, and now it really felt like a huge afterthought after Endgame. Didn't really pay great respect to the character either. The action was just okay, and we wasted great actors yet again, like Rachel Weisz here. Plus, the villain situation, well, typical Marvel fashion, the villains are not good. Thankfully, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova is amazing, other than that accent girl. And the relationship between she and Natasha actually is what holds this film together at all. Sorry, basic just doesn't cut it for me these days, and that's what gets Black Widow down here at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I have Zack Snyder's Justice League. I know, throw the tomatoes, I'm sorry. It actually took me quite a while to sit down and give 4 hours of my time over to this Justice League, but I needed to do it for this ranking. I wanted to give respect to Zack Snyder because he had this film pretty heartlessly taken away from him from Warner Brothers. The whole situation was just a complete mess, and he deserved to be able to make this film. However, Zack Snyder's just not really my cup of tea, particularly from a visual standpoint, and that just doubled down in this film. It's very dark, it's very orange, we don't get a lot of color, it's very unsaturated, and it's just so self-serious. I could not handle these needle drops that take place. They're so dramatic that they verge on corny rather than like emotionally impactful. Not to mention, it's too long. 4 hours was far too long. There was a lot of erroneous stuff put into this adaptation that didn't need to be here, a lot of fat that needed to be trimmed. However, it's definitely an improvement over the 2017 film. It's at least a coherent story. It makes sense. It's telling a good story. And I commend Zack Snyder for not trying to shove way too much in. Even with that 4-hour runtime, everything went together well. We have some great moments in here. I think everything to do with Diana, Wonder Woman, is amazing. She's amazing. And Themyscira, oh, that action scene on Themyscira is stunning. Show him your fear, daughters of Themyscira. Oh, so good. Cyborg's story is also amazing. I thought that Superman's return was more impactful here. Whew, Ezra Miller. I mean, that Flash is terrible. I'm sorry. This actually decreased my excitement for the Flashpoint movie because oof, I could not handle him in this movie. Overall, it's solid. It's a good comic book movie. Definitely an improvement. Just maybe not my personal cup of tea to make it in the top 5. Coming in at number 5, I have The King's Man. I know again, I'm putting this above the Justice League, I'm sure is quite the choice. And they were close. I actually swapped these two back and forth quite a bit. But ultimately, when the Kingsman hits, it really hits for me. Everything to do with Rasputin was amazing. I loved it. And that battle scene is legit one of my favorite moments in film of 2021. I thought it was great. Really, the first and third acts are a lot of fun. I had a blast with them. When it was being a good Kingsman movie, it was fun. The big problem is it's a complete disjointed mess. That second act is also good, but it's a completely different film from the rest of it. It takes such a huge tonal swing that you're like knocked on your ass from what a difference it is. But yeah, The King's Man is a hot mess, but at least it's a fun hot mess. Coming in at number 4, kicking off our top half of the countdown, I have The Suicide Squad. Now, after our first watch, I was left feeling kind of like, oh, I wish I loved this as much as so many other people seemed to. But as I thought on it, as I saw it a second time, as I really got to get into these characters, I did appreciate it more at the least. I still don't love what we do with Harley Quinn, honestly. And I feel like Birds of Prey set the bar really high for her character in my book when it comes to development and being a full-fledged character on her own. But oh, Joel Kinnaman, amazing. And Rick Flag pretty much almost steals the show here. King Shark stole my heart, and Ratcatcher 2 is so good. Villain situation needed more time. It needed more fleshing out. Not all of this comedy worked for me. I would say it was almost half and half on things that just fall flat and that are actually fun. But it's the heartfelt moments that really lift everything else up in the Suicide Squad. The visuals are stunning and super stylized in a positive way. And this is definitely an improvement over the 2016 film. Now, coming in at number 3, I have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What a fun film! We finally got a full-on Asian-led Marvel film, and I was so happy to see it. And it definitely lived up to hype and expectations. First of all, the hand-to-hand combat scenes are amazing, and some of the best shot and most entertaining action scenes in all of the MCU. Black Widow, take note. Simu Liu is wonderful as our lead character. His sister completely steals the show from him, though. And Tony Leung gives us one of our best villains in the entire universe of Marvel. Honestly, the end of the second act, this latter half as we're building towards the big, bombastic, fantastical third act, is where the film really drags for me. It feels like it doesn't have that momentum and it halts any that we had previously. That's where we get a lot of the jokey type of stuff. But that third act is so freaking cool and fun. I'm a fantasy nerd, so I loved it, even though I know a lot of y'all didn't. Awkwafina, though, definitely the weak link when it came to the Shang-Chi cast. But as a film, I thought this was a nice, refreshing, fun time for Marvel. Now, coming in at number 2, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. Yes, it's only number 2. I know, what a shocker, right? Another don't throw the tomato moment. But I had a lot of fun with Spider-Man No Way Home. A lot more fun than I actually anticipated having. While I am a Tom Holland simp, hello, his Spider-Man films have really just kind of been middle of the road for me. I love him as Peter Parker. I think he makes an amazing Spider-Man, and he blends the two well. But his films at large have just been okay, they're fine. Plus, I was hearing all the stuff being added in, added in, added in, and we've seen Sony and their history with that. So I was nervous, but they handled it perfectly. This maintained being Tom Holland's Peter Parker story. As everything goes on around him, it's still about him. It all serves the story and his personal journey beautifully. Holland gives an amazing, in my opinion, Oscar worthy performance as Peter Parker here. All of the others that come into the space deliver their purpose really well. They're handled in a very meticulous way. Willem Dafoe, oh, talk about stellar. That third act is just the stuff of dreams. If you're a nerd, if you're into comic book films, if you're into comic books, period, that third act is literally a dream come to life. But the first act, I didn't love. It really took a little bit of time finding its footing, finding that balance, not just being this joke fest. But once it does, it pretty much evens out to pure perfection. Coming in at number one, my personal favorite comic book film of 2021 is Eternals. I know. A lot of people really did not like this film. I don't know how many others will have it as their number one for 2021 in terms of comic book films. I don't even know how many people will have it in their top three, but this is my ranking. This is my list, and Eternals just hit me. It spoke to me. It really made me feel unlike any of these other films did. I connected to this movie on a deeper level than I did any of the other comic book adaptations. What Chloe Zhao constructed with Eternals was one, the most visually beautiful comic book film of the year. And on top of that, the most visually beautiful film in all of the MCU. It is stunning. The visual effects look very good as well. And the score, oh, that score from Ramin Djawadi is amazing. I've had the Eternals theme on repeat. But this wonderful ode to love and humanity really moved me in a special kind of way. How we resolve the conflict in Eternals is simply stunning. A lot of people have complained about the character development. I thought that Chloe and this script did a beautiful job of instantly introducing them and letting you know who they are to the point where I loved them. I fell in love with all of these characters instantly. I was invested in their journey as not only a group, but as individual people here. Yes, it has a back and forth structure, but it worked for me. It has a long runtime, but I have watched it 5 times in the movie theater, and I've loved it each and every time, maybe even more than I did the last. I pick up small details, and I appreciate it even more. Honestly, I just adore Eternals. I love it. Be ready for it to make an appearance on my favorite films of 2021 list coming soon. But just know that it is definitely 100% my personal favorite comic book film of 2021. So that's it. That is my ranking of the comic book films from 2021 that I saw. If you liked my ranking, hit the like down below and make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. What did you think of my ranking? And most importantly, how would you rank the comic book films you saw in 2021? Leave your rankings either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.